Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So, yesterday we just went through the first three verses of Surah Nas, where Allah describes Himself as the caretaker of the people, the king of the people, and the only being who those people can worship. And I think it's very powerful to notice how sometimes we as humans, when we're in the physical world, we turn to the physical stuff automatically. So we usually turn to the Rabb that we have, whoever's the owner of the house, maybe kind of the police, and sometimes we go to the higher authority, like to the courts or even to the kings, which Malikin Nas. And then, but eventually, like in reality, the only one that can actually be helpful in all circumstances is going to be Allah. Everything else actually should kind of be secondary. And this is a powerful belief to have, that if you're actually creating your life with Allah, you realize that Allah's the one doing everything. So there's not that much that we have to do. And then if we can realize that, then next time we have a problem, next time we do get stressed out, we might actually turn to Allah first. And that will be very, very powerful. That will be really useful if you can actually turn to Allah when your problem comes and actually realize and take His help in solving your problem before you start panicking and using all the physical means. That's when we'll actually appreciate having Allah in our lives. This is the way this surah is organized. Is very, very powerful. It's very important for us to realize that in reality we should be turning to Allah first, whenever we have these problems. So the next verse, we'll do the dua for reading Quran first. I think it's useful just to slow down, take a couple of breaths, and before we start moving on to the Quran, we'll just recite that dua. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. Good, mashallah. So then the next verse is الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس. This one. So where now we start talking about shaitan. So min sharril waswasil khannas is so actually the next verse is min sharril waswasil khannas. Min sharril waswasil khannas. So this means min, from. Shar means evil, and then this is possessed by waswas, which means a whisperer, and khannas is a whisperer who backs away, who you don't notice. Like, it's not that obvious all the time that he's whispering. So again, this is why it's very powerful to recite this dua properly, because if you slow down and start noticing the words and noticing the letters, and very often when you just increase your awareness like that, you actually start noticing kind of you're more likely to be able to notice shaitan as well, and the whispers of shaitan. So that's why it's powerful to read that dua, and this kind of a surah is very powerful because we're seeking protection from shaitan. So we just become, this word khannas, it shows that shaitan, he kind of retracts and he hides himself. But when you take precautions, you're actually able to notice this, and then he gets scared and runs away. So min sharril waswasil khannas, we see protection from any of the evil which comes as a result of this whispering which is always going on. So it is powerful to realize that, to notice that shaitan is whispering in our lives, and when we do that in itself kind of makes us so much more aware of it, that sometimes shaitan himself gets scared and runs away. So that's very, very kind of useful to realize that we do actually have that power to actually notice it. And when we notice it, he will be exposed. So then it stops kind of being a whisper. It's kind of like a pretty obvious thing which you can just get rid of. So min sharril waswasil khannas, and obviously the whispers that he does, and they'll start showing up. We'll start seeing them ahead of time sometimes. he's going to whisper like this, or he might give this kind of idea. So min sharril waswas al khannas, the result of that which we have in our lives, we seek protection from it. Then Allah says alladhi, he's continuing with the description of shaitan. Alladhi yuwaswisu fi sudurin nas. So that shaitan who whispers in the chests of people. And this is interesting as well, because like Allah didn't refer directly to the hearts or directly to the mind. He referred to the chest. He referred to the area. It's almost like a waiting room before shaitan can really have any effect on us. There's kind of an area where he has to kind of wait in before, and that's where we have the time to bring our awareness there and notice that shaitan's giving us a whisper. That's where we can apply taqwa. So alladhi yuwaswisu fi sudurin nas, who passes, makes those whispers go very close to your heart, and makes it easy for you to act on them. And I think again, just bringing awareness to that shaitan will just give the idea there very often. And we have the power just to notice that that's a really stupid idea, and then we can just ignore it. But sometimes these whispers become very strong and they start controlling us completely. And that's why just taking time out to recite a surah like this and realize how much control we have over shaitan is really very, very powerful. So alladhi yuwaswisu fi sudurin nas, who will always be giving you whispers, min al jinnati wan nas. And as we know, in the jinn form we won't notice. But Allah here says that your environment will affect how much shaitan will control you, and how much control you'll have over yourself. If you find the right people to hang out with, if you find a teacher who's going to help you get in touch with your soul, if you find some friends who help you pray, then these human beings will be the people who guide your life. But in exactly the same way, it's more than possible for you to find environments and find human beings around you who will just always be encouraging you to do things which you're not really meant to. So min al jinnati wan nas, these kind of whispers can actually just come from the environment around you. It might be from some of your family members, who might give you a good environment or a bad environment, who might make it difficult for you to pray or make it easy for you to pray. They might kind of be a shaitan in terms of that they'll give you ideas which really aren't very good for you. And again, reciting a surah like this, when we're making dua to Allah to protect us from these things, we just become a bit better at noticing it ourselves as well. And that noticing very often is what diminishes the power of shaitan. When we're aware that shaitan's there trying to give his whispers, or that the environment and some of the society around us will try and give us evil whispers, when we're aware of that, it makes it so much easier just to actually be able to control it. And in many cases, the shaitan himself will go away, and will stop trying to show up so much. And again, this it'd be useful to come back to this video on a daily basis and to really strengthen our protection against shaitan. But I hope that was beneficial to understand how we start off by taking the names of Allah. We realize that we're in need to Allah. We realize that sometimes we forget Allah and we go to the people around us before Allah, and then we seek protection of that very Allah from shaitan and the ideas and the useless ideas which are around us, and we just take back control to some extent about what's going on around us. And I hope that was useful, and inshallah I'll see you tomorrow.